Welcome to the Explainer. What if the biggest reason we all struggle with money isn't actually about how much we make, but how we think about it? That's the core idea we're diving into today from the legendary book Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
So the whole book is built around this story of two dads, right? And they have totally different ideas about money. You've got the poor dad, super educated but always struggled financially. And then there's the rich dad, who didn't even finish school, but you guessed it, became a millionaire. And their advice? Well, it's like night and day.
So that advice from the poor dad, it sounds good, doesn't it? But the book argues it leads you straight into this trap. He calls it the rat race. And it's this vicious cycle of just trying to keep your head above water, which, let's be honest, probably sounds pretty familiar to a lot of us.
Okay, so what is the rat race? Well, it goes something like this. You work your tail off for that paycheck, but the second it hits your account, poof, it's gone. To taxes, to bills, to all the stuff you buy. Then you're out of cash, and what do? You got to go back to work to get the next paycheck, and the whole thing just repeats, over and over again.
And that's the real kicker, isn't it? This cycle basically gets you hooked on your salary. You end up stuck in a job you might not even like, just because you need that next paycheck to survive. You spend your whole life working for your money instead of having your money work for you.
So how do you get off this hamster wheel? Well, according to the book, it all boils down to one simple idea. But trust me, it's an idea so powerful it could completely change how you look at everything you own.
Yeah, no kidding. One of our sources said this concept was a total game changer for them. And honestly, I get it. It's all about knowing the real difference between an asset and a liability.
Okay, first up, what's an asset? It's super simple. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. That's it. It actively makes you money.
And a liability? You guessed it. It does the complete opposite. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Simple as that.
Now this is where that big mindset shift clicks into place. Think about buying a new car. We're often told it's an asset, right? But is it really putting money in your pocket? No way. The value drops like a rock the moment you drive it away, and then you're just pouring money into it for loans, insurance, gas. It's a classic liability. The rich, they focus all their energy on that asset column, buying things that actually make them more money. Okay. So this idea leads us right into the next big principle. The rich dad way of thinking isn't just about buying a few stocks here and there. It's about what the book calls minding your own business. Now hold on. This doesn't mean you need to go and quit your job tomorrow. Think of it this way. Your job, your profession, that's what pays the bills. But your business, that's what builds your wealth. The whole idea is to take the money you make from your job and use it to build up that asset column on the side.
And what's so cool is that today, there are a million ways to do this. Things like freelancing, maybe starting a little online shop, investing. These are all real, tangible things you can do to start building up your assets, all while keeping your main gig.
But what's the one thing you need to make all of this happen? What's the real engine behind it all? The thing that lets you spot these opportunities in the first place?
Well, the book makes a huge point about this. Our schools just don't teach us this stuff. Think about it. We learn all these skills to get a good job, but nobody ever really teaches us how money works. And that's exactly why you see incredibly smart, highly educated people who still struggle with money their whole lives.
So what do the wealthy do? They fill in that gap themselves. They make it their business to learn. They're constantly investing their time and, their money into understanding things like investing, how to use taxes legally to their advantage, and just the basics of how business really works.
And that right there brings us to the most important investment you will ever make. It's the investment in yourself, your knowledge, your financial education. That is your number one asset. Why? Because markets can tank, businesses can go under, but nobody can ever take away what's in your head. That knowledge is what lets you build wealth, and if you have to, rebuild it again and again.
Look, getting your head around these ideas is awesome. It's the first step. But the real magic happens when you go from just knowing this stuff to actually doing something with it. So the real question isn't just what did you learn, it's what are you going to do? What's just one small thing you can do, maybe even right after this, to start building that asset column for yourself?